Hello, everyone. It is the Prophet Michael David, aka Aries, and let's get to it. All right, quickly addressing the title of this YouTube video. What is happening in Gaza is a genocide, and Netanyahu is an antichrist. And I will define my terms right now. Okay, so genocide. I'm not sure what the textbook definition of it is, but to me, it's needlessly killing people, anybody, but especially civilians and children for no operational advantage whatsoever. It's just revenge, or it's just ethnic cleansing, which is why it's a war crime. All right, again, Antichrist. We've had this discussion before, but it's not magic. There is an Antichrist in a lot of, especially Christian end times prophecy stuff. And Jesus Christ is called the Christ because he was, to some Christians, he is the Son, the Father, and the Holy Spirit. He's all parts of the Trinity, which is impossible. That being said, what Christ actually means, again, we've been over it before, but I got to do this. Christ in English is Christos in Greek, which was translation of Messiah in Aramaic and Hebrew. And Mashiach is a little bit different, but Messiah and Christos and Christ, all it means is anointed one of God, like representative of God, just as angel means messenger of God. So it doesn't have to be magical. So when I call Netanyahu an antichrist, I'm not calling him the antichrist like in Christian. I'm calling him someone that acts exactly the opposite as a prophet of God would, because he only cares about himself and he doesn't give a shit about anybody else. And I will continue this argument. All right, those two screenshot of YouTube videos are exhibit number one. I can assure you, Netanyahu does not want the war to stop. He doesn't want a ceasefire. That's the last thing he wants, because if there's a ceasefire, there might actually be peace. And as soon as that happens, he gets thrown out of office and he goes to jail, which in past would have been jail in Israel or the land they call Israel. But now it's probably going to be to the Hague. So the one person on the planet that does not want the Israel Hamas war to end is Benjamin Netanyahu, because as soon as it does, he goes to jail. Exhibit number two. They've bombed hospitals and refugee camps and ambulances, knowing that they were going to kill civilians in the process. You know, they call that collateral damage, but that's not what it is. It's just indiscriminately killing people. It's genocide. And exhibit number three, that is how fast Palestinians are dying. As you can see, like a couple weeks ago or last week, it was 8,000. And then just recently, it was 10,000. So, in right on the anniversary, the 7th, which is today. And so I did the math, and magically, if you divide 10,000 by 30, because there's roughly 30 days in a month, you get the number 333.3333333 to infinity, which means since that day Hamas attacked, Israel in retribution, retaliation, vengeance, bloodlust has killed 333 and a third people per day, and roughly 150 of those were children per day. All right, so now you're asking yourself, is this just a lecture, or is there actually a point? Well, I did make a point, but do you actually have any ideas? Yeah, I can tell you exactly how to solve this, but then I'm gonna pull some heartstrings afterwards. Number one, the way to solve it is just let all the freaking Palestinians out of the country and let Hamas and Israel or the IDF duke it out. So let all the people in Gaza out through Egypt. And I know they don't want to take them because they're like, oh, we'll have all these refugees. Well, then other countries kick in, and also the people in Gaza, or not Gaza, in the West Bank. Let them go to Syria, Lebanon, um, and then again, the IDF can duke it out with Hamas if they still choose to do that. Make the land a true land of blood and skulls. But why aren't other countries? There's a lot of condolences, but not a whole lot of people taking these people in. And why not? Between the two, it's 5 million people. It sounds like a lot, but there's 8 billion people on the planet. If we all just kicked in a little bit, we could get them into countries temporarily. And yeah, if they don't go back to Palestine and they want to stay where they are because don't want to be in a perpetual war zone, congratulations. You just inherited a bunch of people that have brains, biological quantum computers that are worth trillion dollars. Congratulations. But no. And as I've told you before, the reason is because the world is currently run roughly by 200 countries, run by 200 sets of utter fucking morons that are basically subsidiaries and lines in some ledger of large corporations or billionaires. They are they're not worthless at this point. Worthless means there's zero worth. They have a negative worth. And until the world gets rid of these people, you're always going to have this problem. So, all right, now I'm going to pull on your heartstrings, both from the Jewish side and the Muslim side. I assume I have at least occasional watches of both. But then I'm going to end it on at least an up note on the global side. Not the governments, obviously, because I just shit all over them, but the people of the earth, the good people, the meek. During World War II, during the Holocaust, when the Nazis killed roughly 6 million Jews, those were the two most common prayers that the Jewish people did right before the Nazis either shot them in the head or gassed them. The first one, as I've spoken before, and this is why they always name a land Israel, when it's not a land, it's a name of a person. But it's like prayers like that they've always used that name to seek protection from it, and quite the opposite has happened. I mean, what happened to the United Kingdom and the Kingdom of Israel, if you know what I'm saying. The second one is even more heartbreaking because they know they're going to die and they're just praying for, Mashiach. And in that moment, they're saying, even though I'm about to die and Mashiach isn't here yet and Mashiach cannot save me, I still pray that Mashiach comes to save my people, which is extremely noble. Now, those two are obviously Muslim prayers, but there are two prayers that, uh, you know, pretty much match the Jewish ones that I just showed for the following reasons. The first one is just the first pillar of Islam. It just says that there is but one God, and that God is Allah. Muhammad is a prophet of Allah. And for any Muslim people watching, did I say that sincerely enough? The second one has Ramadan in it, but it's about Mahdi and everything. And I threw that one in there because it directly corresponds to and seems like the second Jewish prayer, where, every single day they get up, they don't, well, when they go to sleep, they don't know if they're going to get up and everything. And they're just praying for the Mahdi. Although I'm pretty sure in the same way, a lot of them are praying, please Allah, um, let the Mahdi show himself and keep us from being bombed and killed. Um, and even if it does not save me, please save the others. I assume that there's a lot of prayers in Gaza, um, like that right now. I can feel them. All right, so now we're going to try to end on some silver lining stuff. And I, like a lot of people around the world, saw all of the November 4th demonstrations that went around all around the world. And so I'll paste a couple of those and then do a little commentary. Okay, first of all, to all the protesters around the world, I'm very proud of you. It was very well organized, and you guys, with all the flags and the signs, and you all just did a very, very good job. I'm very proud of you, as is the Lord and the angel of the Lord. I was also glad to see this, that there's also some demonstrations in actually the land they call Israel itself in Tel Aviv. All I can tell to any Israeli people that see this or not is, as long as you keep Netanyahu, you're never going to get your hostages back. Eventually, they're all going to die from Israeli bombs. All right, this one is a bit bittersweet to end on, but this one did make me cry. And as I've said before, that does not really happen that much these days. Um, and basically, you can watch the video. I highly suggest you do. But if you don't, basically what the guy does is he's wearing all of his media armor and helmet, and he's like, "This is all a costume. It's all a farce." He's like, "This isn't going to defend me if I get hit by a bomb, like my coworkers did just yesterday." And so he like takes off all of his media stuff. And he's like, "There's no reason to wear it. It's just a costume. It doesn't help at all." And he's right. And the whole point of this whole episode is, or not episode, horrific genocide, is that Israel always has the high ground with the F-16s and the bombs and everything. You cannot defend yourself against weapons that you cannot defend yourselves. You can just be lucky and not get killed. And that's not, nobody can defend. They're getting slaughtered, like shooting fish in a barrel, as, you know, as an American euphemism. They got nowhere to go and they have no way to defend themselves. All right, I'm gonna sign off, but just before I do, like, I know this YouTube channel isn't that popular, and I know for some of you it's probably like a guilty pleasure, but you don't want to tell your friends about it because, you know, the guy calls himself a prophet, and then like another guy in like the first 10 seconds of every video, and then says crazy, crazy stuff. But in this case, if you want to help these people, like, pass it on. When the billboard goes up on around the first of the year, that's when I had to do it. It's politics season around here, or that's the earliest I could do it. And it had to be a specific billboard. Then yeah, a lot of people are going to see it. It's gonna be up for a month, and so 500,000 people will see it. And we live in a social media world, and so I assume that it will get passed up into the social media world. That being said, like, you guys can forward or tell people to watch this channel if you want. Why? Well, on the Jewish end, once I become Mashiach, most importantly, they have zero free will. I know it sounds strange, and I've always wondered. I thought it was a little bit draconian, but since what we're living through right now, yes. The moment I become presumed Mashiach, even to them, you know, personally or whatever, their free will goes to zero. They do whatever I say, whenever I say. They do not ask questions. They do not complain, maybe in private. They get no appeal. They do whatever I say. On the Islamic end, they have slightly more free will as Mahdi, or as me as Mahdi, but not very much. They also, without fearing the wrath of Allah, um, yeah, they also pretty much have to do exactly what I say as well. And in this case, it's just going to be lay down your swords, turn them into plowshares, and pruning hooks, you know? So, all right. That being said, signing off. Rule number one: do not touch another person without their consent, aka do not hurt each other. And rule number 2, it's all about honesty. Lies are a tick down, aka try not to lie. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.